I love you, won't you tell me your name? Hey, this is the Waves of the Chesapeake podcast. I'm your host, Connor Kelly. And with me, my guest, Jacob Nadeau.
What up?
And behind the camera, the most crucial, important part of this whole operation, Brian Kelly.
Mr. Bitches himself.
Mr. Bitches himself, yeah. You want to talk about a ladies' man.
God, dude. It's not even fair.
It's unreal. And he just doesn't care. That's the thing. It's what every guy tries so hard to do, but he actually
tries so hard not to try. We could turn this whole thing into just like an hour, 2 hours of just like patting his ego.
Yeah, right. Or I mean, I should just rename the show "The Love Guru"
with Brian Kelly. We'll be the ones sitting over there. He'll come over here.
Well, anyways, all right. So let's get on the topic because it's about music. It's about, first of all, Jacob's music too, and he's a part of two bands, Civil and Joint Operation. And
Yes,
last weekend, you had a very, very important show at Union Jacks. Would you not say so?
I would say so. It was pretty good, especially for being in Annapolis. To have a show that big is always good. Like a hometown show like that. Big shout out to Ballyhoo for having us. Love those guys. They're nice.
What?
And it was a pretty crazy show. It was so packed in there. I'm pretty sure it was close to sold out. That they had the actual like guardrails out in front of the stage, and they had like bouncers in between them and the stage, like some actual concert stuff.
That I gotta say, that would be, if I was in your shoes, that would be huge. I would be very stoked about that.
Dude, it was quite a feeling. But the unfortunate thing is that that was last Saturday. I don't want to put a time date on this, but that was, as of now, last Saturday. And last Friday, the lead singer and I were playing just a little duo gig, like a private party thing, just like acoustic pretty much, somewhere around here. And we just set up around a pool and played, and everyone was eating crabs and stuff. We were just pretty much background noise, but we were still getting paid, so whatever. And afterwards, after everyone left, they gave us to-go boxes full of the extra crabs, just steamed crabs. And
that probably would cost hundreds of dollars.
A lot of money, yeah. But they just hooked it up, and so we sat down.
Where was this?
Where was this?
Yeah.
This was somewhere past Edgewater. It was like a marina party. It was crazy. It was a nice night, and I don't know, a lot of free food and beverages. It was a good time. But when we were eating the crabs, I went to split one open, and I cut the shit out of my finger. And one of the ones that like I actually use constantly.
Oh man.
And like I mean like deep. And this is the night before this huge show. And so the night came for the show, and my finger is like deep wounded. Like I'm talking like I could split it open and look. Right. It was gross. And so I had to do an old bass player's trick. I'd never used it on a wound.
To all the bassists out there.
To all the bassists out there. But don't make the same mistakes I have.
Don't eat crabs.
Don't eat crabs the night before. It was the most Maryland thing I could have done. I cut my finger eating crabs the day before a Ballyhoo show in Annapolis. How Annapolis is that? But
incredibly.
I needed to be able to play because I'm not like I can't play a show like that with a pick. Like I'm a fingerstyle player. Like I'll look like an idiot to myself, and no one else will notice. But to myself, I'll feel like an idiot. So we ran to Target and grabbed super glue. Super glue. It was back in the day when I used to get some horrible blisters on the like pads of all my fingers. You get some super glue and just cover it up and let it dry. But the problem was I didn't let it dry before we had to go on. I did it like 20 minutes before. So it was like half dry.
Glue on your strings. Oh my god.
I go up on stage to like a packed room of people like about to go nuts. And I was like, oh, I have to start this show with a pick because like my finger's not dry yet. And so I start off with a pick, and after the first song, I went to go try, and the pick started to get super glued to my finger. And like, so I had to pull this off. I kept almost like running my hand through my hair with like super glue on my finger. It was rough. And then a
little there's something about Mary when she brushes her hair back.
I was ready for my hand to get
up.
stuck like this, and then have to like play with one hand.
Well,
it was rough.
Hey, at least it wasn't semen though.
I mean, yeah, at the end of the day, at least it wasn't semen. But I guess you're right. It could have been worse. But I ended up blowing out my finger, and I looked out in the crowd in the middle of one of these songs, and I saw a friend of mine that I'd had a falling out with like 2 years ago, and like one of my best friends since kindergarten. But we hated each other for a long time and just never reconnected. I looked out and like locked eyes with him. He just happened to be at the show, and like as soon as we saw each other, like all beef was gone. Like, you know how dudes are. It was just like we actually saw each other and we're like, oh, whatever. It was stupid. I don't even remember what it was.
Like in your eyes start playing in both your guys' head.
Yeah, we were like, oh dang, like that was stupid. Like it just disappeared. The beef disappeared, and I was about to go into like a huge bass solo in the middle of a song. So I looked at him and was like this one, like this one's for you, and then like went off and just like threw the care about my finger out the window. By the end of the set,
Blood
it was
everywhere.
really bad. Yeah, and then the super glue just dried around and inside of the cut, so it stopped it from healing. It was a rough one, but the show itself went fantastic. The adrenaline kept it from being a problem. But
There you go, and I think that's huge too because I've seen a picture of a guitar after Dave Grohl's played it, and the thing is covered in blood. And I can only imagine the adrenaline, the moment aspect of.
oh yeah, it doesn't even matter.
And I've played a couple of songs, but I sang. Like I didn't like play an instrument.
By the end of the set, you're coughing up blood. That's it.
yeah. Oh man, but no, I mean that's amazing, and the crowd aspect too of it, and everyone was involved.
It's rock and roll, baby. That's all it is. Like I mean, I went into that set knowing like if I bleed all over this bass, like I'm a god. Like I'm a rock star. Like I don't care about getting hurt. Like afterwards, I'll deal with that afterwards. But in the moment, whatever happens, happens.
This is very true, and just like being a rock star aspect kicks in, and knowing like this is what I love. This is my passion.
Yeah, and we're entertainers.
This is very true.
What's more in the moment than that?
I couldn't tell you honestly. And can you tell us next time you play, the next gig you have?
I mean, I'm playing all the time, and I'm really sometimes I slack. I mean, the show I'll plug right now is October 13th in DC.
October 13th
at the Songbird Vinyl Cafe. It's this really sick venue. Like the first story is like half cafe, half like record store. Then you go downstairs in the basement, and it's like a full venue. Like crazy. It's kind of like Metropolitan in Annapolis, but like bigger and not as gross.
I was actually where I went downtown DC. I was right across the street from that.
From Songbird?
Yeah.
Have you ever been in?
No. Do you know Matt Bucci or Andrew Shermer?
I know their names, but I don't know why.
They played a show there once, or I think.
What's their band?
Something from The Big Lebowski.
Oh no!
Preferred
really?
Nomenclature. Preferred Nomenclature.
I've heard of them. Yeah, it's
And-
my favorite movie, by the way.
Yeah, I mean,
The Dude Abides.
The Dude Abides.
He does.
And you know what? I was thinking about bringing that rug. You guys can't see it. Maybe Brian can.
Yeah, pull it
show,
out from
like-
underneath the drum kit real quick. Edit it in afterwards. Post.
But yeah, we have a nice rug over there, and I was thinking like,
It would have really tied this room together. That's all I'm saying.
bingo.
But anyways, we're playing the Songbird Vinyl Cafe on October 13th. It's a Friday. Tickets are, I believe, $10. It's a official event. You can get them on Ticketfly. We're opening for this band called Amyl and the Sniffers. AMYL. Amyl and the Sniffers, which is a pretty good name if you ask me. They're from Australia. Imagine AC/DC.
Bunch of Aussies.
Yes, crazy Aussies. Imagine AC/DC, but a little bit more punk rock with like a wild female singer.
Ooh.
Yeah, they're on the record
Intriguing.
label Flightless Records, which is King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizards record label, which is my favorite band of all time from Australia.
And that what's behind your tattoo that you got?
Yes, if I show the camera, I have this gator here, and then I also have King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard tattooed right there. And yeah, every time they come to the U.S., me and my boy Nick Larson, the lead singer and guitar player from Civil, we follow them from like 7 different states.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, if you guys saw it, it's a tattoo of an alligator.
Yeah.
Alligator or crocodile?
It's an alligator. You'd think it'd be a crocodile because it's Australian, but I guess someone did the research and it's actually an alligator. I should know. It's my tattoo, but whatever.
And I remember thinking to myself, I was like, did you get really drunk? Like, you get that? But when you told me the story, that, I mean, when you have a favorite band, it's unreal. That's why I have this. The Doors. This is my favorite album, probably, of all time.
Oh, it's a classic.
Might be behind Prolonging the Magic by Cake, But
Ooh, that's a good one too.
yeah, but and even just mentioning the Doors, King Gizzard. I mean, we all know the Lizard King.
The Lizard King himself. It all comes together, you know. And it's like no one else has done things that sound like most of the stuff they do. I mean, they take influence, but God, their music is so out there, but good. It's like a step forward, and that's really nice to see.
I might have to talk to my coworkers at WRNR.
Oh, there's
and start playing them.
There's definitely, yeah. I'm surprised they aren't already on there. I hear them everywhere I go now, and everyone that I talk to usually has at least heard of them. I mean, it's a pretty memorable name. But this show, with the Sniffers, they were the opening band on King Gizzard's last tour all through the U.S. Sold out shows in theaters in every city. Ridiculous big tour, and it was Amel and the Sniffers. Wow. So the fact that they're coming back over and I get to play with them is like so cool. And they're like the nicest, most down to earth people.
So what's been your coolest memory of just being a part of music and being in the music industry?
Oh, dude, it's such a big blur. It's hard to pinpoint like just one specific thing for like number one, but I mean, as far as like playing or being an actual musician, it's like the opportunities to meet and connect with people that like make the music that I love sometimes, like getting to relate to these people. Like when I run into people that I love, like King Gizzard, I can talk to them as a musician. Right. With experience, and like I know how the road can be, and I can like talk to them on like a musician
and
level.
Trying not to be a huge fanboy.
Oh, it's hard, but like I've met them so much now, like it's chill, and they're so much fun to hang out with. But
I mean, that's gonna be awesome, meeting one of your favorite bands,
and having them know you. That's the weird part. Like, I love those guys.
All right, so our producer and / director today is gonna say something.
Well, first of all, don't mind my voice. I am a little sick, but
you're always sick.
It was a kick-ass time,
dude. You know,
it was always just.
Remember when you? All right, let's tell a quick story. Well, I'll pick one. You pick one. Be careful though. Don't dox me.
Go down for this.
Do you remember Metro Gallery when we were in like the middle of our set and this kid breaks the head of the snare drum in the middle of the song, and we didn't have a backup. We had to just. What did we do? Was it the bottom head? I don't even remember.
I put a part of a broken drumstick I had on top of the snare and to give it that same little crack. It was very ghetto, but
punk,
it worked.
Dude. It was punk, dude. Do you have a favorite moment or a highlight? What's the first thing that comes to mind? Don't get me in trouble.
The highlight is because I found out about the band Pasadena, who is no longer around, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Years ago, my freshman year, which was probably 6 years ago. Listening to them all the time and then being able to play with them
That was a great show.
It was a really cool time for me.
And it was before they were all sober. Remember Tom?
Oh, yeah.
He was giving us drum advice.
Getting real wild that night, but it was a good time for me.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
And I mean, like I said, he's just talking about Brian. He's a very multi-talented musician as well.
Great Counter-Strike player.
We were talking about your bands, and he, like I said, Jacob Nadeau of Joint Operation.
And Joint Operation, yes. Yeah.
Have you ever heard Jimmy Savile?
I briefly have heard of him, but I've never seen him, met him. I might have met him, but. And
so, where the name Civil come from?
It goes back to high school. The origins of the band go way back to like my freshman year of high school, or all of our freshman year of high school. We were playing the first gig. I got the band together to play this like weird little festival somewhere.
Yeah.
And we were originally going to call it Clear the History, which is like obviously a reference to your internet history. You got to clear that browser history, incognito mode.
Browser history, because none of us have ever looked up anything inappropriate on the internet.
No, would never, ever. But Clear the History was going to be the name. But and I still to this day cannot remember why it was even funny. But for some reason we were talking about something that had to do with Elvis and porn. I have no idea to this day what the joke was. But like, and if anyone can think of anything, please let me know so I can have a better story. But we ended up just flipping Elvis around backwards and calling the band Civil, S-I-V-L-E. And it's like the most annoying pain in the ass name ever. It's like, Civil, you think, oh, C-I-V-I-L. Or like you see it, S-I-V-L-E, and it's like, Oh, Sivle. It's like the most inconvenient name, but it's stuck, and I have a ton of merch with it on it now. So too late.
Like, I don't think people, our generation, pays enough attention to, like you're saying, the underground music scene, and just.
In my opinion, I think that if the music is good enough and it's there and it's provided, people will come. I think that's true for any genre. If it really speaks and is good, doesn't matter what you're playing. Like, people are gonna show up, you know.
But you have to make sure you work your ass off and you go to as many shows as possible.
Yeah, networking is important, and figuring out how you want to do things yourself is important, and trying not to rip people off is important. It's a complicated game.
It really is. I mean, all right, I'm going to talk up Jacob for a second. I'm going to not try to build up his ego, but we're talking to one of the probably best bassists in the Annapolis music scene
I'm a
right
bass
now.
player,
And I mean, everyone knows it. He's probably one of the best bassists we have. And like you're saying, I mean, you're trying to get your foot in the door, and it's been tough, hasn't it?
Well, like I said, I've been part of 14 bands, and I'm
14 bands.
I'm 19 years old. I turned 20 actually on Monday, but I'm 19.
Really?
Yeah.
You're only 19?
Yeah. So I've accomplished a lot in my time so far, and people look at me that are in the scene and think like, "Oh, he's doing it." Like I'm a lot farther ahead of
like
some other individuals, you know.
Like 30-year-olds, you're probably is what you're saying.
Dude, there's 55-year-old dad rock bands that I'm ahead. Like the age is. Actually, the first band I was in was like it was me and a bunch of 55-year-olds. I'm not even kidding. It was a good time. I learned a lot from that band on how to be like a professional, because they were like so experienced. It was a lot of fun. But then I joined Shady Lady and they fired me. Well, it was a mutual thing, but I was quitting and they were fine. No. The old band.
Oh, the old band?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Well, I mean that makes sense. I mean, and
I was like I joined that band. I started playing professionally when I was 15. Yeah. Like I was in biker bars on like the weekends when I was 15, and I'd be going to school on weekdays. Like, what am I doing here?
I'm sure you saw some to quote, I don't know if anyone's ever seen.
I watched a biker sell meth in a biker bar in Glen Burnie when I was 15 years old.
Did one of the bikers let you touch, and
the bike or his?
Well, no, his old lady's boob. Like the campaign.
Dude, the MILF game was strong. It still is. On this, you remember I was talking about the joint operation stickers earlier. Of myself and the lead singer Josh. It's a joke, and you'd be surprised at how many people get upset about this. Like, oh, why do they have? That's not funny. Like, that's gross. We have stickers of Josh and I kissing. And the kiss is authentic. It was from like Ocean City or something at the beginning of our tour in June. But it's photoshopped, just our faces kissing onto the scene from The Notebook where they're kissing in the rain. And it's a great sticker. That's funny. That's hilarious. It's awesome. Like, no harm meant. And it says joint operation, rock music for MILFs. That's the demographic at the end of the day. You know what I'm saying? It's chaos, dude. I got a lot of things in the work. Like I'm saying, like, I want to be a part of starting a scene around here of like hip new music, like with civil especially, like underground. I want like good shows to go to that
Name some bands.
Good bands from around here?
Yes, good bands.
All right. I'm going to focus mostly on Scribe. If you haven't heard of Scribe, he is him, and it's the name he goes by and also his band's name, but it's mostly recently his like solo name. He plays like, it's really like hipster kind of folk. He is the baddest cat out there in Annapolis or Baltimore, I think. Original music, his style is so good. It makes you feel like a traveler of the road, like, hobo type thing. It's such good music. It's really nice to listen to. You got Scribe, you got the Bumpin' Uglies doing it. And I love those guys. They help us out a lot.
Bumpin' Uglies, Scribe.
We got Joey Harcum, Pasadena band, like we mentioned earlier. Joey's still kicking it. He's still kicking it with his solo band with Charles Cavusi, who has another great band in the area on guitar and bass, and Jay D'Annunzio, who is the drum whore. I'm the bass whore. Jay D'Annunzio is the drum whore.
He is the bass whore. He told me that.
I am. That's my name. But Joey's band's great.
That's good too. And just to put that out there, guys don't mind being called a whore or slut. Mm-hmm. But please continue what you were saying.
There's good local music, but I'm really, I've been trying a lot on my free time to work on a lot of my own solo stuff. Just something I always neglect. Like, I'm a bass player. I can get up there and tear up a bass, but like
Paul McCartney, Sting,
god-tiered songwriters.
and so when you're talking
Les
about
Claypool, my favorite of all time.
I think there is a lot of action for bass players, but
You can get work if you're a bass player and you know what you're doing. At least even a little bit. You can get hired instantly by like 10 different bands.
Yeah, I mean, you first of all, like you said, you're pretty much a very nice aged one who's gotten around.
I've been doing this like it's already been like 5 years of playing, and like people that are just starting now look at me and ask me for advice, and I'm like, listen, dude, like I've been doing this already for like 4 or 5 years and grinding. Like it's a lot of people think that you can just jump in and like already have like a lot given to you, but it's hard, dude. It's been a grind. Like it doesn't end. I don't think it ends. End's not in sight yet, and I'm happy with it. It keeps me busy.
And are you kind of scared? Let's say you get one really big hit out there.
Mm-hmm.
Well, first of all, everyone should listen to him because his music is amazing. Right. So we have one song down. What's the other one?
If you're authentic, I think if you're not just trying to make a radio hit, I feel like it's a lot easier to not become a one hit, one off, one and done. You know, like if you're really writing your music and you got your thing down, then I think you'll reach. If you find your audience, and it's not just like a chart hit like pop record, like if you find your audience, they're gonna listen to whatever you put out. Especially now, if you put out some good thing and find a crowd, like they're gonna be there to support you, buy your record. It's cool. Like people think the music industry is like dying, but it's there might not be as many like Aerosmiths or Led Zeppelin, but underground, underneath it, there's a lot of incredible music out there. Like Mom Jeans from California is one of my favorite bands, and they're just now starting to get a little big, and like they have a lot of support and they're making great music. Fiddler from California, they've made it. They're successful as hell, and like they're incredible. Like there's good music. It's not all lost. The rock and roll's not dead.
This is very true.
It's different, you know.
That might be the quote of the night. Rock and roll is not dead. It's just different.
It's innovating with the times.
And I think everyone out there needs to know that it's not it might not be what you've been listening to back in the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s. But it's just different, you know? And I don't think, like you said, it's not dead at all.
No.
Well, Jacob, and what I got to say, thank you for coming on.
Oh, thanks for having me.
I'm going to go over there, grab your bass. You want to end us on a nice little bass solo?
I'll give you a little jammer.
Yeah?
A little jam.
How badass is this bass, by the way?
Walk you through it. This is Savannah.
Ooh.
This is Savannah. You see here, I got the King Gizzard sticker. I got to match my tattoo with my bass. This is a 1961 reissue Fender Jazz bass. It is the flea model, but that's not important. And it has a nice little smell of royal pine. Royal pine, yeah. The funny story behind that, I was playing or I've played it twice, but there's this bar restaurant in where is it? Somewhere around York, Pennsylvania, in the middle of nowhere, called the Racehorse Tavern. And it's one of those bars you can still smoke cigarettes in. And like, so it reeks. It smells so bad in there. It's like 4 decades of like stale cigarette smoke. And so when you leave that place, all your gear like just reeks of like just gross like old nicotine. So I leave this bad boy up here to leave a smell of royal pine. It's a nice little decoration. I love it. All right, take us away, Jacob. All right. And once again, to everyone out there listening, thank you. This has been the Waves of the Chesapeake. I was your host, Connor Kelly. Behind the camera, Brian Kelly. Jacob, take it away, my man. Do you want me to play it here, or do you want to plug in, edit it in afterwards? I'll just say play it here, man.